Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to address a business topic and topic related to general success in life and related to failures, successes, obstacles and challenges. So I'm going to reference a video of a girl who has been a IIT student from India and done engineering from there. And after her engineering, her father wanted her to do UPSC clearing because he wanted her to have a government job in a as possibly a IAS officer. So while she was preparing for that exam, she couldn't clear the exam, and after trying it for 4 times and failing it, she got likely potentially depressed. That's not mentioned in the video, but it's a likely outcome that when we are a top tier student from a top tier institute, because in order to get into IIT itself is a very few percentage of Indians are capable of getting into IIT and studying that hard to be in IIT, then studying that hard to graduate from IIT with good grades. And after doing all that, and knowing that until IIT you were a top tier student, when you're clearing a UPSC exam or a competitive exam, if you don't end up clearing it, it does get demoralizing. So people can get depressed when they don't clear any exam, be it a IIT exam, be it a UPSC exam, or even getting any seat into a IIT institute or other places after clearing exams, which is a major problem in India because we have a billion plus population. And unfortunately, despite having a billion plus population, the number of jobs in our country are not structured according to the population expansion, because of which there's usually a high unemployment rate as well as high amounts of competition in our country for getting these much coveted institutes or jobs in India. So after doing all that, this girl decided, because she was at home, potentially she might have spent more time with her mother. And this video shows that she and her mother ended up opening a small business of making crochet purses. It looks like crochet purse to me. And they didn't just start a small business with just the two of them, but they also enrolled help of other ladies, and now they are running a small women's business, potentially from their home. And while it is commendable that she's doing that, if you look through the threads of her comment section of this clip, there are people who are questioning why has someone done engineering and from IIT, the top tier institute of India, and then wasted their engineering potential. Someone else is wondering why did they, if this woman hadn't taken that seat up for IIT, some other potential candidate who coveted that engineering job more than her could have gotten. Someone else has commented that this is what happens to Indian students, that after graduating from a degree program, they realize what they should do or what they shouldn't do. But while it seems like all of these comments are really mocking her, challenging her, and it is true, it can also end up being destructive criticism if the wordings were written in a particular way, or if she's in an emotional status where her business might not be doing that well, she might herself start thinking on these questions. But this is one kind of obstacle or challenge, and her life is an example of failure related decisions, both of which are important critical criteria while we are pursuing anything in life, be it a professional work, doing something personally, doing something as a hobby, doing something as a life purpose goal. So let's first address some of the questions related to she's wasting her IIT seat. And I actually did reply to some comments there, but I wanted to expand further because there's a lot of things I like to discuss, even from smaller clips, which people may miss about people's lives when people are not intuitively or emotionally or empathetically or even logically connected to certain things about people's decision making skills. So, first, coming to the IIT seat, it's very common in India that maybe if you are an only child or if you are a child from a smaller family, many places in India have seen this, that engineering and medicine are the two top tier professions parents always want their children to participate in. After engineering and medicine, the next two top tier positions are actually government jobs, like becoming a IAS officer by clearing exams like UPSC, IAS, IPS. I actually don't have much idea about this aspect of Indian governance, so I'm sorry if I am not well informed about it, but please pardon me. But all I know is there are government exams that children can clear for entering IPS, IAS, and governmental top tier government job positions in India. That's all I know. I don't know all the details of all the exams children have to clear because I haven't given any of these exams in a long time, and as a result, I don't know what are the current generation's exams that people have to work through. I only know the exams that I have cleared in life, and I have cleared some competitive exams. I have also failed some competitive exams. I have failed competitive exams related to IIT. I have failed competitive exams related to CAT, or even if I went through something related to CAT, I didn't go through all the levels of interviews to get into a MBA or other MBA type programs in India. But what did I end up actually clearing? I did clear GRE to be able to be eligible to study either masters or PhD programs in US. I cleared GMAT to be eligible for working in for a MBA program in US. So I did both of these. I did a PhD program, I did a MBA program. In the PhD program, I did fail my PhD to become instead I exited the program with a master's degree. And in the MBA, I didn't fail the program, but again, after exiting the program, I went through a crucial life decision making point experience where at that time it was more important for me to be safe in life and health safe and more secure about health related aspects, personal health related, rather than financial health related aspects. So I had to make the decision of letting go of some financial health related choices. So these kind of things women and men mostly do tend to make in India, and she also ended up making some decision points slightly similar to mine, not same as me, but something similar. And people might take there are many people in my family or friends or parents age who tell me, oh, you are so talented, you have so many degrees, why aren't you doing a job, X blah blah blah. But there are multiple reasons for me to not do a job. First time when I had to quit a job was because the ethics of the job was wrong. There were multiple things, layers of things wrong. I am not a quitter when only one thing is wrong, but when multiple things are wrong, I do tend to analyze the situation both emotionally as well as logically to decide what is important. Because when things are stacked up against you in a way where you can't handle certain pressures, or you aren't built up to handle certain pressures, or you don't have a cushiony life enough to be able to withstand the emotional stress of something, and in those cases I will not fight a fight where I know it will be a losing battle. Logically and legally also, there were many things that led to my quitting certain things in life, and which make seem to other people that I am being a quitter or I'm wasting the degree programs, that education that I so valuably cultivated. And I did cultivate those exams. I had in fact For 13 years I lived in US, and I did nothing except be the most geeky or nerdy, studious kind of a personality, geeky and nerdy. Like, I'm not a nerd per se or a geek per se. I can't even consider myself in that category as well. Let's just say I was a studious person, but I dedicated my life to studies rather than other things that people in 20s and 30s end up doing. So I spent more time studying, more time spending on my career related goals, less time on my personal life related goals, though they were simultaneously going on. And in my other video, I have two channels, so in my other channel I'd sometimes talk about more of the personal aspects of what I went through, and in this channel I talk more about the professional aspects of what I went through or what I'm going through in life. But personal and professional life can never be separate, at least not for me. So invariably I end up also talking sometimes about personal experiences. So for this girl, when she did her engineering, she was talented enough to get that engineering seat. She was smart enough, talented enough to graduate with an engineering degree. Now, after getting the engineering degree, though, when many a times while parents push children to do these competitive exams and get these competitive degrees, and I feel this girl might be either a only child or it's possibly a two-sibling family. And when it is a only child or two-sibling family, some of the children feel more pressure from the parent regarding this, which happened to my brother. I never felt that pressure because firstly, my family is near zero level caring if a woman gets a degree or doesn't get a degree, does a job, doesn't do a job. In fact, if a woman does do a job, many people in my family are or even social circle are such that they get jealous of a woman holding a higher position or financial position. Many these kind of things also happen to women, especially if, say, there's two family members and the woman is doing much better in some professional life. Very few women, unless they have balanced parents or balanced family or balanced social circle, they don't get the credit for the work they are doing, which is also one of the reasons why this girl will face criticism, that by doing something innovative, by doing something different, if she was just merely a boy, she doesn't get to experience this side of life, which is of, if a woman becomes too successful, there's a lot of painful hardships written in the woman's life automatically because of societal patriarchal belief systems, because of familial hierarchy related problems, because of parents preferring the male child, in-laws preferring the son's career more than the women's career, children also wanting women to be more involved in the home life than pursue a career. So all these things are something that every woman from India or conservative culture has to constantly battle. And while women have taken up the financial, like when a woman and a man are married in the modern world, at least 50% of the marriages are such in the modern world, and the marriages that I know of, where at least women is either working from home or doing a part-time job or working full-time. 50% of the marriages I know from India are of that level, and the other 50% are the housewives. But 50 or 40% maybe are the housewives. But the women who end up working, the women who end up carrying the financial burden of the husband, when many women started carrying the financial burdens of their husband. Why? Because if you are from a low socioeconomic status, you have to do that. If you are in a middle class or a upper middle class also, you may have to do that because of loans, students' teachings, and everyone has this particular standard they want to meet. So when they want to meet a particular standard, people can start thinking that they really don't have enough finances, or start worrying about financial trouble when they don't really have to worry about it. And this aspect maybe I'll explain in a different video, but this part is the reason why many middle class families, upper middle class families, lower middle class families are always striving to go into these top tier institutes, top tier government and private jobs. And for getting into private jobs, you do MBA. For getting into government jobs, you do the government job entrance exams. For getting into engineering and medicine, again there are competitive exams. So these are the top 4 at least coveted positions in India, and there are also other positions, but these are the most coveted ones, right? But What happens to all the students who didn't get into these four aspects? All of us, are we failures? And the answer actually is no. I actually consciously, I did fail my engineering exam, but I had the potential to clear a medical exam, and I also potentially could have entered at the time when I graduated in Maharashtra. There was no entrance exams for getting into Maharashtra medical schools or dental schools. So I had the potential based on simply my scores, because I know my friends who had similar scores as mine, and they went into dental, they went into physiotherapy. There are people who went into different medical related programs based on the similar scores I had. So I know I had the potential to go into those fields. The only thing is I chose not to, because at that time itself came this dilemma: do I want to go into medical field, or do I want to go into engineering, or do I want to, I even got an engineering seat as well. Again, I didn't choose to take that seat, and based on simply my scores. And anyways, I didn't take medicine. I didn't choose the medicine route itself. I didn't apply only. And the reason was I was very queasy when killing cadavers. When like, I knew in medical school, you will have to not kill cadavers. Oh my god, what am I talking about? But killing itself is something that bothers my soul a lot. And because killing bothers my soul a lot, and even when you anesthetize a rat and dissect it, anesthetize a frog and dissect it, this was part of the experience we had in 12th standard in biology. And I knew that you have to also do this similar kind of things of cutting cadavers in medicine, and I knew I couldn't do it. So because I knew I couldn't do it, I decided I will not join medicine, where I have to work with blood, I have to see, I can't see blood also. These are the two things which prevented me from actually pursuing, even contemplating going in that direction. I had given one entrance exam for all India exam, but other than that, for the local applications that I could have had, I didn't give those applications at all, because I just decided, let's not do this. I found this other alternative route of pharmacy school that someone suggested, which does involve you using both the logical things of life that engineering needs, as well as the other biology related, chemistry related teachings that we learned in 12th. So it seemed like a perfect fit to me. I decided to enter pharmacy school. But did I avoid killing animals or experimenting on animals? I didn't avoid it. All I avoided was not experimenting on human body. But that was a major thing. I still am grateful that I didn't have to cut a human body. I didn't have to look through a human body's blood and everything, because just simply looking at a frog, smelling the blood of a frog while experiments were going on in the frog, all the chemicals that I used while doing experiments on smaller animals, all of these used to make me queasy. I also did a pharmacology degree, and that's why because it was making me queasy, when I actually did fail my pharmacology related PhD programs criteria. Later on, at that time, in the first 6 months, maybe I didn't feel grateful for failing the exam. I felt really bad, exactly how this girl might have felt when she didn't clear her UPSC exam. Not just once, 4 times she didn't clear it. So like that girl, I also had 2 failures. One time I was applying to some colleges, and I didn't get accepted by many colleges because after I failed my PhD, I did again try to enter a PhD program of different faculties, and again I failed getting admission. So twice I had the career related failure, where I couldn't, and I didn't get accepted the place where I wanted to get accepted. So this is the value of failure. Understanding what is the value of failure from this? The value of failure from this, or a challenge that came up in your life, that while you gave an exam, maybe you cleared the exam, but you didn't clear the next step of it, can happen. Or you fail to clear, can happen. Or you fail to you may have cleared an exam, but after that, in fact, for the second time of PhD programs also, I gave GRE another time, and in fact the scoring for this GRE was potentially better than the other scoring. But even then, even though my GRE scores were good, because in one PhD program I hadn't done well, again getting into another PhD program was difficult. But this had a value at that point of time, because at those times, whichever PhD programs I would have entered, many of them would involve doing cruel experiments on animals, which was already torturing me while doing this. And because it was torturing me too much, like some people can still kill the emotional aspect of what work they are doing and decide to take themselves out of that experience to just take it as this is just my job and I have to do it. That is what some people can do it, but I'm not that kind of a personality. I really deeply invest my emotions as well as logic while doing some work. So I couldn't be that logical with my work. So eventually, that's why after 6 months or a year, I eventually understood the value of why I failed. And after failing that exam, I did still continue. I didn't completely discard my pharmacy degree. So instead of not becoming a doctor of pharmacology, where again I would have to keep creating experiments, or because if you are a PhD student, after you have cleared your PhD, you will do postdoctoral programs, you will do research work in some company or in some university, all of which will require animal research. At that point of time when I did these exams, not right now, maybe in 20 years many things could have changed, certain things could have shifted, but many things that were not at that time shiftable or changeable were all things misaligned with my soul. Because it was misaligned with my soul, misaligned with what I am as a person, the universe chose the route of failure for me, which is what will happen to anyone. Say you are a talented artist. What if you are meant to go into art school, or you are a talented designer? What if you are meant to become a designer? You might have seen videos of this girl Nancy Tyagi. I think she was also aspiring towards some competitive exam like everyone in her society or culture is doing, but she has this fantastic talent of being a dress designer. And because of her talent and pursuing that talent, she's now become really famous just because of her talent. She didn't have any social connections, she didn't have any, at least not initially. She did have some people who supported her in the work that she was doing, and because of the support they gave her in the work she was doing, slowly step by, and because of her own inherent skills, and of course for her own inherent skills are more important than the people who have supported her. But without the people who have supported her throughout her journey until now, when she's at the brink of becoming famous, like she's already famous, but she can become even more famous now. But again, here also is when you are getting also succeeding in life at something where many people are attracted to you and admire you for what you're doing, or like in IIT, that is also a validation that out of so many billions of Indians, you are in the top percentile of students who could clear that exam and study in a top premier institute of India. So this validation that you get when you succeed in something is definitely important in order to feel encouraged into doing something in your life. But what people forget about validation or popularity or being appreciated for your talent or education, or being paid money for your talent and education, while all of these are important aspects of life, that is not the only thing of life's journey that we have all come to experience on earth. Only some people are meant to influence a lot of people, meant to drive some changes related to something that they are doing. They are the ones who will be in this top tier, who might be in this brink of becoming super popular globally, or who might be into becoming doing something very different from the rest of the world, or who might be also doing the same normal thing that everyone else is doing, but they have been given this top tier institute to work from or study from because of their future purpose. And that future purpose, though people think if you're a graduate from IIT, if you're an engineering graduate from India, though it is normally generally perceived, and not just in India, any other, say you graduate from a premier institute of US or England or Australia, whichever country you're graduate, or China, wherever you're graduating from, maybe you're graduating from the top 5% and you are in the top 5% of that country's intellectually intelligent student. But is intellectual intelligence the only thing needed for success? No, you need to have emotional intelligence, you need to have intellectual intelligence, you need to know how to build social connections, you need to know how to balance everything in life, balance even the fame in your life. What if the student who was saying that we didn't get this position, or someone else, some eligible student could have got this position, that this girl took over? But what if instead of this girl, some other student came, and he might have been a student, or she might have been a student who wouldn't be able to handle the pressure of IIT? Have you watched the Three Idiots movie? In Three Idiots movie, even though they don't mention IIT, and if you read the original book of the author Chetan Bhagat, he was a IIT and IIM graduate, I think both, or whatever it is. At least he was definitely a IIM graduate. So he was a graduate from this, again, a premier institute of India, where only top 5% likely get in when clearing an exam. So in these institutes, when you are a top graduate of such the premier institutes of India, or of a country where billions of people are competing for, not billions but millions of students are competing for those exams, it is very competitive after getting in also to that program. And just simply graduating in Three Idiots, you saw that one person, the suicide that happened from one of the students who failed something, the suicide that happened from those people who don't get into these institutes also, all these little bit of these aspects are examined. And the suicidal aspect is important in life because of incapacity to understand the value of failure or obstacles and challenges in life. Because those students who commit suicide because they failed, say, to clear in their first year, or those students who commit suicide because they failed to even enter a program, those students who failed after they cleared IIT and have an engineering degree, but they are failing to maybe get a job, those people who are failing to, if they didn't want to pursue a job or wanted to pursue a government job and were giving other entrance exams, and they are giving a couple of years of, they're just sitting at home and studying for those exams, and again not being able to clear. These are all elements of failure. But are these the only elements of failure? These are the elements of failure of those who experience failures in their 20s or 30s, while we are clearing or trying to clear some exams, or go through the next postgraduate level after we have done one graduate level, right? So many people experience these kind of experiences in their 20s, or even until, in India, until about early 30s. But in countries like US, when I went to MBA program, I had students who were there in the MBA in their 50s also. Why? Because in US, people do not judge age as a criteria for studying anything. They do not also judge age as a criteria for any profession as well. They also don't judge gender as a criteria for any profession as well. So all of these things make it easier for a woman or a man to succeed in any field at any time point of life. So you can go into a premier college, premier institute at any time point of your life. After facing multiple failures also, you can get it. And of course, the person who was in their 50s and entering the program, he is entering the program in their 50s because whatever job he already had was not capable, or whatever was happening in his personal life, he felt that he needed an additional degree to maybe build connections, to maybe get an additional insight into how to run a business, because it was an MBA program, right? So he of course he wants to either run his own business or learn or pivot his profession completely after having realized maybe he has a good business mindset. So whatever it is, pivoting in life is not something people should mock so much, because pivoting is an important, being able to be adaptable is an important survival and healthy life skill to possess in life. Though in India, because of very much siloed way of looking at our careers, many people are unable to pivot, and also because we have a billion plus population, it is also very difficult to pivot because people don't see the value and worth of a person who is adaptable and can work in multiple fields at the same time. Some people who will be bothered by this girl are those people who are bothered that why, if she has done engineering, why is she pursuing arts and crafts skill related projects? So those art students also might get bothered, as well as engineering students also might get bothered, thinking she's insulting both our fields. But is she really insulting both the fields? The answer is actually no, because her engineering skills of when you're doing engineering, I'm not an engineering student, but one time I had visited one of my friends for her engineering related work, and just visited her college, and I know that what engineering students do, they have to take measurements for some architecture related things. We know that mathematics is important in every aspect of engineering. So, and I also had pharmaceutical engineering as a subject, so I know maths is very important in engineering field. So her math skills that she used in her engineering, that math skills will now be applicable for her projects when she's making these beautiful pieces. Because if you look at the pieces they have created, they have very good structurally and very good finish. This finish that won't be possible if she wasn't an engineering student, and she and her mother, they both were shown using scales and drawings. So her mother was shown using scales and drawings. So first of all, her mother likely had this talent which she has transferred to her daughter, and her daughter likely had some talent from the mother and the dad, both of which she is using when she is running this business along with her mom. And let's say this is not the end goal of her life. What if her purpose was to only help set up her mother into pursuing a hobby during the retirement age, when she might end up finding a job related to engineering, potentially maybe 10 years later or 5 years later? Or if she being a daughter, most daughters don't stay with their parents, she might even leave her family life and go and live with someone else after marriage. In all those scenarios, she has created now a place where her mother can have a social group. Her mother can build a career of related to pocket money, and she must have, in the 4 years when she was at home, actually she didn't mention it in the video, but I will definitely tell you, this is a problem of many Indian housewives, and her mother seemed like a housewife to me. That's why I'm putting this comment. Her mother being a housewife, she must have been, most of the time most housewives in India are really lonely. They don't have spouses who spend time with them even after retirement. They don't have spouses who are emotionally connected to them. They also don't have spouses who are financially looking at their wives' needs. They also don't have spouses who caretake them at all regarding their physical health status when they are aging. Now, all of these are important areas, because if this mother now in her 50s or 60s, when she falls ill, if she has a less observant spouse, less caring spouse, less involved spouse, more rigid spouse, more authoritarian spouse, more financially not ready to invest money on wife's health and caretaking related spouse, and this kind of spouse exists in India across all socioeconomic status. It has got nothing to do with how rich you are, whether you're an upper middle class person, whether you are a lower middle class person, whether you're a poverty stricken person, or whether you're the wife of the richest man on earth. It really doesn't matter, because your husband may have a lot of money or just enough money, but the husband who is a good husband is not one who has the most amount of money. The husband who is a good husband is one who knows what to do best with the money they already have. The husband who is a good husband is one who knows that a good husband doesn't require just money to be a good husband. Emotionally you have to be connected, socially and physically. If a wife is sick, at that time you should provide her with certain comfort. Now if this husband is any of these categories, one or all of these categories, this girl's father, it is very important that the mother has her own career then, because even if she never pursued a career for 50-60 years of her life. Why? Because for that mother, having that career when she is in her 50s and 60s is now important, because if she suddenly, and many women are currently facing health issues, where I personally know family members who have been financial dependents of someone or the other, and because they didn't have their own career because of the cultural related problems or local problems, whatever is the barrier that they couldn't have a career, and they are financially dependent. They are completely financially so dependent for their medicine. Also when they fall sick, they are financially dependent for every aspect, where if the spouse, if they have son, if they have in-laws, whoever is caretaking, if they have their own parents who might be caretaking them somewhat, whoever is caretaking them, when they fall sick, if they don't understand the extent of the care that that person needs, and if they don't even give the money for the right appropriate care needed by a person to have a good quality of life. I've seen many women have very poor quality of life before they die. They end up suffering for 8-10 years. I personally know a family member who has been suffering for at least, as far as I know, 20 to 30 years. And part of it is her problem, definitely, that she did certain choices that harmed her. But majority of her problems though came from actually all the other people who were supposed to caretake her or redirect her into better choices. They were not able to redirect her, and those who were supposed to caretake her either were too young or too old to caretake her. The ones who were emotionally connected to her but didn't have a financial control, and the ones who did have financial control didn't witness her pain enough or understand her pain enough or understand the depth of the things needed for her caretaking to give her the right caretaking. And now if this, like, and that woman who has been suffering for 30-40 years, she's someone in her 50s right now, but that same woman who could have potentially been married to a man like this girl's story, where the man is not that cruel. He is likely providing her a good home. He is likely providing her enough money to run the kitchen expenses, to run the household expenses. But despite some men doing that much also, there are still an element of financial abuse or financial control that men exert on women when women are falling sick. When women fall sick, even though some man might have provided them with a home, might have given them enough finances for cooking and housekeeping, they won't even acknowledge that they are having a health issue. They won't take them to the doctor. They won't understand that there is a physical health problem going on, emotional health problem going on. So all these things, this girl definitely, while sitting at home for 4 years, has had the potential to observe this about her mom. So when she chose this path of pursuing a career along with her mom, has she done something, not just along with her mom? Did she only see the problems of her mother? She also might have seen the problems of maid servants. She might have seen the problems of cooks. She might have seen the problems of low socioeconomic status people in her life that she's seeing in her neighborhood. So after seeing all their challenges, this is what her logical thinking came up with as a best case scenario solution for all these women who don't have financial access, or who may have abusive husbands, who may have a abuse-filled, trauma-filled life, who also, because they have abuse and trauma and other problems related life. When you have abuse, when you go through trauma, when you go through financial challenges, when you go through healthcare challenges, and these times, if you cannot function as a normal member of society, because you cannot compete against, if you have extreme financial challenges, you are not at the same level as someone who has no financial challenge or hardly any financial challenge. and then you can't even compete with them when giving your exams then. Or you will take 4 years, 5 years, 10 years to clear an exam, which someone who has no financial challenge will not have that problem. But it's not simply about financial challenge. It's financial challenge, abuse, financial abuse, sexual trauma, mental trauma from emotionally and psychologically being traumatized by spouse. All these things play a combined role in keeping women subjugated, keeping women oppressed, keeping women in a place in society where they don't even get to even spend 5 rupees or 50 rupees on themselves, or for simple things. If they have period pain, they might have to make do with using old clothes for their periods than buying a 100 rupee, 500 rupee period pads. Or if they have to if they are in a low socioeconomic status, they have to decide, where do I use the money first? Should I use the money for my food and clothing and housing and rental needs, or should I use it for treating myself if I'm seriously ill? So that's why it's important that these women get some financial access, because educational access these lower socioeconomic status women didn't get. They couldn't get the educational access because they likely came from even worse families than they have been actually leading lives. So because every new generation does lead a slightly better socioeconomic status life in general. Very few are such that if in the past your family was very rich, you became poor. When that happens, there is also some karmic reasons for those things manifesting in your life, that if your family was ultra rich and you became from ultra rich to moderately rich, and then from moderately rich to really poor, karmically you have done certain things, oppressed people, oppressed women, and all these things will end up causing these karma to manifest in your life. Likewise, if you've done a lot of social good in your life, or some aspects of social good choices were made by you, your next generation benefits from that as well, and they will karmically then go up higher and higher in life, right, in some of the normal parameters that people think are elevated ways of living. But money is not just the only elevated way of living. So that's why if she doesn't take a high paying job as at a corporate office or at an engineering firm as an engineer, she has still done something and brought something in the world that was needed to be brought in the world. So is her education really devalued then? Because do you think IIT exams are cleared simply because you are intellectually very good in physics, chemistry, maths, biology and other subjects? No. Or whatever engineering subjects you have to do you think after you go into engineering school, all those subjects that you study as an engineer are your learning only about engineering profession, or is it about engineering plus other things of life? Because life is not simply about engineering. Life is about, for her person who is an engineer also, life is not simply about engineering. That's why she chose the other elements that make her she chose to give that the priority. But it still doesn't devalue the engineering education, because this shows that she has still the potential. Like an engineer like her might still be needed in a factory where some mass production of purses could be done. Not now, maybe she has to first learn all the things that she has to learn about fair pay, living wages, women's abuse, women's rights, about whatever is her life purpose. Because I don't know her life purpose, but given the choice she made, it is possible that this is part of her life purpose. Even if she clears UPSC exam after being pressurized by her dad, she gives the UPSC exam one more time after a few years. Again, there also it has some value, because if she has worked with low socioeconomic status women and middle class women and higher class people are her classmates, does she have a overarching view? Because all her classmates, 90% of her classmates are going to end up actually in top class professions in globally, not just India but globally. So was her engineering a waste? No, not right now. It might be a waste only if her friends don't connect with her and understand her value and worth simply because she is not choosing her engineering profession. But if they understand her value and worth, those friends can likely collaborate with her into creating a kind of engineering world where empathy is required, worker rights related issues need to be addressed, health rights related to people might need to be addressed, socioeconomic status related problems need to be addressed, or that is if she goes in that direction, like if she wants to collaborate and go global with some element of what will unfold for her in her future. If she wants to stay local, other things will unfold for her in her future. If she wants to again maybe she set up this business for her mom, or that is not why she actually did it. She wanted to do it for both her and her mom, but maybe after 5 years, once this job is settled, if she's really a very intellectually good person and a thinker and a innovator and a change maker, if that these are all her future life directions, maybe after 3 years 4 years of setting up this business, she might decide, like, let her mom and these women continue this business. She might decide to go into UPSC and become a government official, because a government official also needs to look at business aspects related to, I mentioned in one of my comments that this work that she's doing has link to even sustainability related future Earth's life purpose, because in Earth right now there's too much earth pollution. In multiple videos of mine I've talked about chemical related pollution, medicine related pollution, drugs related pollution, but other than these there is also physical material related pollution that is going on Earth. So her engineering degree is still valuable because she knows how to work with physical material, and as an engineer she knows how to work with mass scale production of physical materials and things like that. So she has the capacity to also either find talent who will know how to design the newer machines that are needed to reduce earth pollution, or she has the potential to, if she becomes an IS officer, to do that work in a mass scale, where if India wants to do manufacturing, we have to do the right manufacturing, because earth pollution related sustaining manufacturing can't happen on Earth anymore. If it is continuing to happen, those businesses are going to shut down. And for her to understand this business aspect, even though she didn't go to IIM, even though she didn't go to business school, she's getting a real life business related experience that will also be valuable if she again suddenly decides that I want to become a IIM and I want to go to business school, because maybe like after 5 years if her business starts failing or is not doing that good, and if she wants to, I want to go to business school to see how to become a better business manager, then that will also be a reason. These are all like, see, so many 4, 5, 10 different paths are going to open up for her simply because she accepted her failure in the UPSC exam and took it up in the right positive manner. She also accepted that as an engineer she has these skills, and those skills are transferable. Her skills from one job to the other, those who know how to properly pivot, their core skills never go away. I'm a very operations oriented person and also very innovation or future vision oriented person. Because I'm an operations and future vision oriented person, I'm also a little bit, in the last few years I became aware more about the global earth pollution related problems, health related problems. That's why I'm discussing these topics here. And most of these core skills never went away. I was a humanity or humane measures related person. That's why I was moved away from doing a PhD where humane measures were not available to the animals who are getting dissected or experimented on. And those kind of experiments also don't need to happen anymore on Earth, because newer ways of healing humans, treating humans have come up, are slowly coming up, are going to emerge in future of Earth life. That's why those things that 20 years back bothered me about my profession are not going to bother other future students of these fields, But all the past students of my fields that I have worked in, I have studied, I have given my many years of life educating myself in, all those fields have to shift a little bit slowly away from those practices that are earth harming, health harming, human health harming, animal and planetary health harming, or that are destroying our planet in such levels that pandemics have started existing in large numbers, or climatic calamities or wars are existing in large numbers. Because if any one of us wants to reduce any of these, reduce earth pollution, reduce climatic problems related issues, work on climate change related issues, work on social population growth related issues, work on job loss or job related issues, anything, any field of work we want to pursue, every field of work is interconnected with each other, and every field of work being interconnected with each other needs these interconnecting personnel like this girl. If she wants to bridge a gap between engineering work or manufacturing related work that will be approved in India, and she becomes a government official who is going to have the responsibility of doing that in the future, engineering and government need to work together. And again, business practices, she has to understand deeply as what is a ethical practice, what is unethical practice, what is a humane practice, what is inhumane practice. All these things she is meant to understand. So that's why she will experiment in her life with at least 2 or 3 different fields before all of them will become important in her overarching life purpose. Same thing happened to me, and that's why I'm able to talk about this video. And this is what I learned eventually from all my failures. Like when I made the video about pesticide poisoning 10 years back, my society where I used to live in US, and at that time when I lived in US 10 to 12 years back, I started getting some pre-cancer symptoms also arising in my body, which needed me, my thyroid problems came up, and it needed me to keep checking the thyroid to ensure that the thyroid nodules that I have, which are pre-cancerous conditions, don't get transferred into a cancerous condition in the future. So that was the general protocol. But if I continue testing myself without having any symptoms, it's a waste of using resources. So I don't waste those resources. And that's the one reason why I had some life challenges, all of which distracted me away from the regular protocol. If it said you have to check yourself every 1 or 2 years, I didn't do it. I checked myself only initially every 2 years, and then after almost 8 years I checked again. There's been a 4-year gap and I haven't checked it. Why? Because if the symptoms aren't bothering me, or if the symptoms aren't critical, I don't want to waste earth resources on things that shouldn't, and my finances are also limited. So there's a reason why I have failed in pursuing a job also for a while. And that higher purpose is I have to understand certain things related to earth pollution, certain things related to using our finances in the right way. That's why I did the business school. I do not actually enjoy finances much. Finance and accounting are my bane in life. But because they are my bane in life, both from a life experience perspective as well as from business school perspective, everything else about business I enjoy, but these two I don't enjoy. But what you don't enjoy, you also learn a little bit more in depth about those fields. Not that I'm going to become a financial expert or accounting expert, but I will have the capacity to look at finance and accounting in a different way than someone who enjoys finance and accounting, who loves the normal standard ways of finance and accounting. And this finance and accounting is also important in failure. The finance and accounting is very similar to how people perceive failures and obstacles in their life. When failures happen, people feel that they are financially and accountability wise doing something wrong in life. But that is actually a false paradigm that many people have to shatter now, because failure has a purpose, like her failure had a purpose, and her success in engineering profession has a purpose. Every single thing, every failure, every success has a purpose, and the higher purpose of every failure and success only will come up for her in her future endeavors, one after the other, and each of them will shape up her future. because all of these paths that I said that are going to potentially open for her, each of them will open based on how she accepts her failure and success, what she's able to perceive about her failure and success, and after perceiving that about her failure success, what ends up actually happening around her with the people she is working with. She may have to realize, are these the people she has to continue working with? Does she need a newer group of people to work with? If she's expanding a business, like if her business expands, how to expand the business in a right, ethical and environmental friendly ways. If she wants to work with other materials to make these purses, what kind of other materials can she do? If she wants to expand her business, in this video we only saw the purses they are making, but what if instead of purses they start investing in home decor and other crocheting activities? Is she also ready, because if she wants to become a sustainability oriented person, is she ready to experiment with sustainability related materials? All these things are important, and for future of earth life, future of her life, and depending on what path she chooses, that path will unfold for her. Likewise, all the students who feel gripe that, oh, this many men I know in India feel this, that when engineering seats and other seats get 50% taken up by women, and then they see that all these educated women who have an engineering degree, doctoral degree, other degrees, they are only housewives and they are not using their degrees. Many men, many other elders might ask these women, why are you wasting your degree? Or they, even if they don't ask them directly, they're thinking it about these women, why didn't they use these degrees? But who said that their degrees are not going to be used? Yes, they didn't use it professionally to do a high paying corporate job that would keep them exhausted for 10-12 hours of the day. They chose that the path of least resistance. They don't want that exhaustion from, because if you are, I know I have many friends who are engineers, so I know the jobs my engineering friends do. I know many friends who are from pharmacy field, who are in the banking as well as in business fields, because pharmacy is a business. So everyone in pharmacy school is running a business. I know also healthcare oriented healthcare people, because I have a healthcare degree as well. So as a healthcare administrator, they also are administrating and looking at business aspects of running a company which is a healthcare company. So all of these people need a drive, need a focus, need a attention when they are in high paying jobs and in the top tier jobs of a company. The number of hours they need to invest in their work, the number of emotional energy too they have to invest, because simply investing number of hours isn't enough anymore. We have to invest both the logical time as well as the intuitive things are also necessary to drive earth towards a more conscientious future. There's so many companies I see who do not value or understand this aspect. They only, and this is why it was important for her to fail, because if she had continued just on the engineering trajectory like most her friends, she would not have looked at the social elements of life, all of which are currently going to come up now in the future of earth's existence, because we have to heal social issues, we have to heal socioeconomic issues, we have to work on changing certain engineering related paradigms, we have to work on changing everything, not just engineering. For her, she has to work on engineering. I don't have to work maybe with engineering people. I don't know what my future is going to be. It will just depend, because engineering related also I have some ideas where certain engineering things have to change. How they will change, I don't know. So this is my job as a person who knows what needs to happen next. I can guide people on what needs to happen next, but I can't guide someone who has better skills than me on how to bring that into their profession. But which professions do I have an expertise on? I do know what is needed in healthcare. I do know what is needed in business a little bit, not too deeply, but some aspects of business I do know. I also know operations related activities of any profession, which is a transferable skill, because that is my core skill. So I can transfer operations related paradigms into multiple fields of work. I know healthcare related work related to hospital functions, pharmacy functions, or even if I have not worked in the pharmaceutical industry, I even know where in the pharmaceutical industry certain things need to shift and change and change according to the future of earth, which is why I'm making this video. Like anyone who fails in life for one reason or the other, they have to understand maybe you had a different purpose. If you failed while giving the IIT entrance or engineering entrance or medical entrance, and you can continue giving that exam, but only reason why you will clear eventually that exam is because if you have learned certain elements related to that field that is crucial for your future life. Otherwise you will continue failing a lot, or even if you pass, once you go and do a job, you will fail at being a good person at your job. Because I know two people in personal life, and one who is superficially I know, and both of them failed multiple times in their exams. Then they both cleared their exams, but both of them are incapable of pursuing the profession that they are pursuing. One, that's why couldn't even progress in that profession at all, and even though they keep thinking I'm such a smart person, this person, that person, but smartness has part of the process of clearing exams, part of the process of being good at something, but that intellectual smartness also needs to be coupled with emotional smartness, also needs to be coupled with an intuitive understanding of what work you're doing. The deeper understand, the in-depth understanding, the deeper level understanding doesn't come from your books, comes from who you are as a person. And if you are misaligned as a person with the profession you want to choose, or in some way, like how I mentioned in my pharmacology PhD program, I was completely misaligned because at that time pharmacology required people to experiment on animals. So because I was completely misaligned, I had to be taken away from that field. So you will be taken away via obstacles and challenges, or via failure. And maturity or balance is in understanding, and balance in aligning with your life purpose is in understanding why you failed. After you failed, understand your own value and worth, to know that failure doesn't mean you are not good at something. It just means this is not the field maybe you have to work on. It is also possible someone who failed IIT exam in their 20s, maybe for 10 years you have to work in some other field, and then in your 30s you give an engineering exam, clear it, and become an engineer in your 30s. That is also very likely possible if you are truly supposed to be an engineer, because many people in India, are those people really emotionally involved with engineering field? No, I'm not involved. I understood some concepts of pharmaceutical engineering while studying pharmacy, but the reason why, what happened with me when I went and applied for engineering seat and I got an engineering seat is, I was with family who I trusted to like I was filling up my form, and my dad was helping me give the codes to filling up my form. And my dad sometimes deliberately does it, sometimes doesn't deliberately do it. I don't know what happened. Our goal was to enter at that time electronics, electrical engineering, and computer science were popular. So out of these three fields, I think I chose the three based on either maybe like one computer science, one electronics, one electrical engineering seat is what I was supposed to choose. But while I was choosing those seats and the code numbers were given by my dad, he ended up giving me a code that was a wrong code. So when I applied, and I didn't double check it because I implicitly trusted my dad. So I went and gave the application, and once the application was submitted, what happened was, two of my codes were from top institutes of Mumbai, and obviously they were the most coveted seats, so I didn't get those two. But the third one, which was supposed to be a electronic or computer science seat, instead of that I ended up getting a seat for mechanical engineering, because it was a mechanical engineering code that was given to me. And because it was one of the top institutes in the Mumbai suburban area, but despite that, I didn't want mechanical engineering because I know I'm really bad at understanding physics. And because I'm very bad at understanding physics, like my 12th standard physics, I had to really take tuitions to understand it. And right now I forget many things related to physics. Like if someone questions me about physics, even though I have had education in physics field, I'm the worst student of physics. So because of which I knew like physics is important in mechanical engineering, I shouldn't take that degree program. So universe already blocked me. Like say if universe hadn't blocked me that day, say I had got admission and the process at that time was after the first three things, if you have selected, you got it, you don't want that seat, if you reject that seat, you have to wait for all the other students who have lower marks than you also to get their pick before you will again get your pick. So I had to wait another 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks I contemplated, should I pursue engineering. I also realized maybe this was a pause from the universe, like it was an obstacle and challenge that I have to wait, and after that I will have to, if I get now towards the tail end of the selection process, I will not get a seat in Mumbai or suburban parts of Mumbai. I would have usually most probably have to go for a seat outside Mumbai, which I didn't want to take. I didn't want to have a hostel life. So I didn't want a hostel life. That was an issue. Second issue was when I got a chance to pause about not getting a seat, I reflected on it. Is engineering aligning with my personality? And engineering was really not aligning with my personality. I was going into the engineering field only because my parents had expectations, or generally the culture from which I grew up with, engineering and doctor profession were considered the smartest profession to hold for anyone. So because of their expectations, should I ruin my life? So when pause was given, be it by error, be it by sabotage, be it by accident, doesn't matter, but when the pause was provided, for whatever reason, when you fail something, it is a time to reflect. What is the value of this obstacle and challenge? Should this obstacle and challenge continue, or should I pursue in removing this obstacle and challenge? So if you're failing an exam, or you were nearly there getting a seat but couldn't get a seat, whatever was the reason for you to not get into a top institute that you coveted, are you coveting it because you really feel aligned with that field, or are you coveting it because it's something that's standard and normal, everyone does? Because my pharmacology seat was like that. Initially when I went into pharmacology, it is something that simply everyone after graduation, these were the options of all women who graduate with a bachelor's degree. You either get married, you either get a job, or you pursue a higher degree program. So these are the three norms at that time, and I pursued one of the three norms, and one of the three norms for doing a graduate program, a postgraduate program. That's why I had applied. I had other reasons for applying too, so that's why I ended up staying in US for 13 years, because my other reasons were part of my life experience purpose. And because my other reasons were part of my life experience purpose, I got to continue living in that country. And from my personality type, because I'm an operations oriented person, and I understood about my operations oriented personality when I went into becoming a pharmacist. Until I did that job, I didn't know I am a operations proficient person, or I understand operations in an intuitive manner that many people don't understand. And in fact, in operations also, while in operations management related courses, I have got good grades in my MBA. I actually do not like the way operation management courses are run in MBA school, and because they fail to account for the intuitive aspects of operations management. And I feel I'm intuitively and intuition is very necessary for any business when they start failing, especially, or when they are actually speaking, if a business is to be run very effectively or aligned with Earth's evolution, as well as business's evolution, as well as local population or your business population's target markets evolution, you have to realize that if you have to and most businesses which are high-end businesses, they have to align like that. When you are a high-end top class 5 percentile of business professional of any country, or globally also you're operating at multiple levels, you have to align with the global purpose of your business, the local purpose of your business, the employee purpose of your business. All the stakeholders related to business have, or businesses' interests need to be aligned operationally in the right way, which needs intuitive power rather than looking at calculations, looking at simply the finances, looking at the number of products you have sold, all of those are illusions of showing that a business is successful. And that illusion will break away when that field breaks away. Like in business school, I'll make a video about business related other things in another one. I went completely into operations now, and I'll talk about operations later. But this one is about failure, success, obstacles, challenges. Every obstacle and challenge has a purpose. When a business is failing, there's a reason it is failing. It is not aligned with something intuitively that is needed to change, operationally that is needed to change, functionally that is needed to change, structurally that is needing to change. And if people working there are incapable of seeing all those areas where things need to change and shift, they can't bring about the next generation of evolution in their company's profile, and which can end up causing a company to fail. But if a girl like her ends up now going to business school, someone who did engineering, someone who ran a business, someone who's successful or moderately successful in a business, now if she goes into managing a large scale business, she will have some intuitive ideas. Of course, if you are a moderate scale business, maybe you are not even supposed to work with the large scale business. Maybe you are supposed to work with a moderate scale company only initially. Whatever it is, she will have some intuitive understanding, and if she is aligned with what is next supposed to happen on earth life, she will be able to turn the businesses in the right way, a failing business in the right way, a business who is succeeding but starting to show elements of failure or problems. She will know how to problem solve it the right way. I'm not talking that she will necessarily do it, but there are women like her who might have gone to business school and might be sitting at home and being a housewife. That woman might know, and in her housewife role, she would have used all her business minded right skills, the right skills. I'm not talking about the typical business skills. I'm talking about the innovation related business skills. I'm talking about the skills that you develop from experiential intuitive understanding of something. That experiential intuitive understanding of something will emerge in someone's life when they are sitting at home and resting, or when they are sitting at home and experiencing life in a different way than someone who is constantly working. Because when you are constantly working, you also don't intuitively allow yourself to think, which is what many companies have to start doing as well to get their and which is what Google did actually. Google was trying to create a work environment in Google where they are trying to they don't want their workers to just simply constantly be working. So they have created good food area, they've created resting area, they've created play area. But Google also wants to keep their companies all the time tied to their work, which I think is one element where Google has gone wrong, and they also need to shift certain things. But other things that they have done right is this: making your workplace seem like home, so that you're relaxed and nurtured and care taken, and feeling emotionally balanced, to have those resting phases, to have those collaborative phases with your company friends and co-workers, when you're playing a game, when you're eating food with them, when you are socializing with them, when you are even resting with them together. All of you can innovatively go into the right direction about. And that's why I think many Google people who quit Google, or many startup people who quit some of their high-end startup jobs, when you get the time to rest, you also get the time to think about the next stage of human evolution, than continue whatever is either not working. Those people only will go and become the change maker. If you're unable to see what needs to change, you can't become the change maker. If you're unable to or unwilling to accept that this loss is necessary, then also you will not be able to do it. But if you are the kind of person who understands loss, why loss is necessary, not from a logical perspective only, which is what business school teaches you, but you have to understand loss at the intuitive level, understand the value and worth of loss at the humane level, because some loss is always going to be tied to gain. That is the duality of life. But if you are just focused on gain and nothing else, loss gets harder. It becomes an egoic thing. Gain becomes an egoic thing than actual real soul need, or life need, or humane need. And all of these are addressed by people. When you fail, you're meant to, this is the value of failure, this is the value of an obstacle or challenge. You're meant to reflect deeply on all these aspects And in order to gain the depth, do you think I gained this depth the first time I failed? No. It took me 10 years to develop this depth, 20 years to understand the value of that depth of experience that I gained first. All these things what I was telling as a hypothetical situation this girl or others like her may have a life purpose about, all of those girls have to also go through their own individual specific, girls or boys. Though this video is about a girl, it is not really about a girl, it is about any guy or girl who is experiencing failure and obstacles and challenges in their work life or social life or any other aspects of their life. When you are going through a challenge, every challenge has a purpose. The more you understand that purpose, the deeper depth of the next things that are meant to unfold will unfold in your life. The less you understand the purpose, the more you stick to the old, just thinking that everyone is going to engineering, I want engineering. Everyone is going to UPSC exam clearing, I will do that. But then what kind of a worker will you be? Once you go there, then you will be a worker who will be the continuing the same toxic paradigm that right now on earth can't be sustainable anymore. And that's why many people who are failing currently to understand the depth and value of that failure, of that loss, to understand better if they even become a top tier person in some company, some government institute, or if they just simply become monetarily very successful, whatever ends up happening and unfolding in their life, the deeper value of what is unfolding in their life will only emerge, and the deeper levels of success will only emerge when you have done the right reflection, brought the right understanding, channel the right and aligned yourself in the right way with your soul. And again, if she was very artistically oriented, she's making this purse. Similarly, another artistic oriented person who is getting offended, maybe thinking, why is an engineer doing my profession? Maybe you are meant to go and become an engineer now. Or that same artistic person seeing the business success of someone else, seeing someone else's success sometimes can ride jealousy in us. If it's riding jealousy, there's a right way to do jealousy, there's a wrong way to do jealousy. Right way would be seeing her business success, let me also learn either from her, or let me also go and get an education from a business school, or whatever else, let me connect to God and ask God, what am I doing wrong with my business practices that my businesses is not going the right way. I'm also going to link another girl who has made videos, and I'm presuming she is from some either European country. Like the comments there were all Spanish comments, I believe, and because there many of the comments were Spanish comments, she's either from Europe or from Mexico, and she's making these very beautiful tote bags, and many people are praising her. Now she is doing it as a hobby, but the moment she turns this hobby now into a business venture, again she will also face similar kind of rebuttal or questioning from those who are happy seeing her pursue it as a hobby, but may not be with seeing her pursue it as a professional thing. But what if what she's showing, actually this girl also has very much potential of making her business go into sustainable ventures, where she can use materials which are she can go to a clothing store where wasted clothing material is there, or a clothing factory where they have a lot of clothing waste. She has the artistic skills and talent to use her sewing skills to create all these really interesting bags which will have materials from different kind of places, and all the material, if she uses, this kind of artist uses it, someone else uses it to make yarn, because I know how to make yarn from old clothes, and I make the yarn and then use it for crocheting different kinds of mattresses, table mat, floor mat, even purses I have done. But purses haven't turned out as great. It depends on the quality of material I'm using when crocheting a purse. So I have done the recycling aspect of it, and I feel these women also need to address it eventually sometime in their future, at least some aspect of recycling or repurposing or upcycling certain older clothes they may have in their own homes, or retailers, if not home clothes, use, because home clothes may have currently a little bit earth pollution related problems, but if you use clothes from a tailor who has wasted products, or a cloth manufacturing firm near your area who has wasted products, if you use those, you will end up creating the next innovative and needed change on earth. I hope all this was educational, informative, and if anyone has any comments, anyone would want to collaborate with me, anyone has ideas like this, maybe drop a comment so that someone looking through this video or looking through the comments might eventually someday be able to connect with you. So and I want to raise some discussions via these videos, so I would really love to hear comments from people. Thank you very much. Have a great day.